Okay, hi, my name is Hank McGovern, and I'm a psychologist in North Carolina, and part of my mission is to help reduce suicide. And in doing that, let me say that suicide continues to rank in the top 10 causes of death in this country, and has done so for decades. And that's despite efforts at suicide preventions, not only clinically, but in schools and all kinds of things that have been done. And they have been helpful to a degree. However, since suicide continues to rank in the top 10 causes of death, I do think that we need to do some things differently. Now, I want to first start by saying that neither the American Association for Suicidology nor the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, nor the National Association for Mental Illness, nor the mental health profession will be responsible for reducing suicide in our country. The primary responsibility for reducing suicide will be us, the population, the culture, everybody. And that's why I'm making an appeal to you to hear what I have to say and consider putting it to use. And first, what I want to say is that one of the reasons why suicide continues to be as bad as it is because we consider it to be a taboo. That's right. We basically say that thinking about suicide or having gestures, it's terrible, it's wrong. And some people will even shame people who have that. That's completely wrong, okay? And one of the reasons why suicide continues to be so contagious and why it happens so frequently is because people feel ashamed to talk about it. They feel ashamed to talk about it because it is a taboo. Then when they feel ashamed to talk about it, they're more likely to complete suicide. So you see how suicide loves to have the taboo, because the taboo keeps suicide alive. What we need to do is to eliminate the taboo, and we need to eliminate it in every possible way we can. Number one, we as a nation need to accept people having suicidal thoughts and people having suicidal ideas and feelings. Now, there was a psychologist philosopher named William James who said, "I take it that no educated man has never dallied with the thought of suicide." Okay, now that's the first quote that I have in my book. But think about what he's saying there. We all, from time to time, will have suicidal thoughts. And what we need to do is to accept and respect that. Now, once we accept and respect that, we need to learn how to listen to people who are having suicidal thoughts, to listen to them in a respectful way, okay? And to show them compassion, and to never, never, never be judgmental when people are feeling that way. Too often people will say, "Oh, you shouldn't feel that way. Look at all you have going for you." Well, if all they had going for them was sufficient, they wouldn't feel the suicidal ideas and thoughts that they're having. They wouldn't be having those. They have them for a reason, okay? So we need to listen to one another, accept one another, to be non-judgmental, and to thereby show more compassion. Now, psychotherapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, they don't have the purview, okay, over learning how to listen to and talk with people having suicidal thoughts. Okay? We have the freedom to learn how to do that ourselves as a nation, so that when we learn about the suicidal thoughts and feelings of others and they share them with us, we can listen and accept the person. And I'm going to give you one more tidbit that's really, really cool, okay? And it's a reframe that I have, a reframe about suicidal thoughts, okay? And I say they're a good thing and not a bad thing. And the reason they're a good thing is that they are signals that something in one's life does need to die. It's just not the person who needs to die, okay? Now, what often needs to die is something to which someone is clinging. Very often people will feel suicidal because of the death of someone, because of the loss of a personal relationship, because of something that has been lost, is gone. And someone will continue to cling to that. That clinging, okay, causes suffering. And so what people need to do is to let the clinging die. And once that they let that clinging die, they can let go of it, and free themselves. And as a consequence, they can go through a transformation. Now, there are other things sometimes that need to die, and I'm not going to go into detail about them now. But I have found that very often, nearly always, that is happening in someone's life when they're having suicidal thoughts. That those thoughts are signals that something does need to die. So when you're listening to someone and accepting them, showing compassion, you can always say, okay, well, something in your life does need to die. The suicidal thoughts are gifts. That's right, they're a gift, because they're a signal that something does need to die. The next step, of course, is to identify what needs to die, and that may take a little bit of time, and then to focus on how to let that die. Now, the person could possibly do that themselves, or just speaking to a friend or a family member. In some instances, a therapist can be helpful, and so a referral to a clinician may be the best thing. Okay? So now, my point is that once we change the national language and perspective about suicide, we as a nation can help to reduce it. And I believe we can do that. It will take some effort from all of us. And so that's my appeal to you, is to accept some of the things that I just said and to help one another through acceptance, non-judgmental listening, respect, compassion, and helping people to look at their suicidal thoughts in a different way, as signals that something does need to die. So that's the end of this segment of my presentation, and next I'm going to talk about some suicide prevention cards that I've invented, called Life Reminders. Okay, thank you very much.